guys, I felt it was definitely time for us to do Jurassic Park. I love this movie. I could waffle all day about it, but I won't do that to you. So we're going to jump straight in. We're doing the little tease a bit first, the old... before we get into the main theme which you just heard, okay? But before we do all that, let's just have a quick chat about what we're essentially doing with our right hand. So I've got my thumb on my C string, my index on my E string, and my middle on my A string. So just these three. I'm not using this string really. I could at the end if I want for the final chord. I could go all the way down. But yeah, that's how I will be doing it. Chord-wise, fairly friendly. C's, G's, F, a little G7, why not? There is a B flat in it, but you can get away with just going 1 and 1 there, and you'll be fine with that. So, let's jump straight in. So like I said, we're starting with that tease, and weirdly, they're all T's as well. So you're going to go T, 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 T. And hold that one because that one is tied over to the next bar. So although it's worth 1 in this bar, it's tied over to a bar where it's worth 4. So altogether it's worth 5. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you repeat because there's double dots. So you do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're into bar 3. So let's see if we can do that together, okay? I'm going to count you in. We're going to go all the way through that 2-bar phrase. So in other words, we're playing it twice. I want to make sure we go slow though. I feel like I've started a bit fast and it's not a fast intro. It's teasing the audience of what's to come in the movie. So nice and slow and steady is probably the way to go. And you can use your little finger or your ring finger there, whichever one works best for you. Okay? So let's go nice and slow twice through bar 1 and bar 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, it's nice and easy, you see. And what you can do, if you feel like that second one is a bit flat, a bit boring, then use a C chord. So you'd go... and then you'd carry on with the next bar. Just lifts it a little, and you're going to see we do that quite a bit with this piece, just lift it a little with the chords. Okay, so after that nice gentle tease of an opening, we're coming into a bit of a chordal tease. Hopefully that's ringing some bells. So this is part of the intro essentially. I still call this the tease really. We're teasing the dinosaurs on the island. You haven't seen them yet, you're just full of kind of wonder. So that's what you want from this. So you don't want to speed through it. Because, you know, that's not interesting at all. So take your time with it. Nice easy rhythms. You've got a T, T, and then a crotchet or quarter note rest. So another T, essentially. And that's your little lightning bolt. So whenever you see those lightning bolts, that's all it means. Just rest for 1 beat. So you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so, okay? So I know that can be a bit weird, but I think you'll hear it more and you'll start to feel it and you'll get what you gotta do. So let's go through it together. So bar 3, and we'll do it into bar 4, but we'll go nice and slow. So I'm going little finger and ring finger, and I just pluck up with my middle finger on the A string and my index on the E. And I get that middle finger behind so I can get the 2 without moving that ring finger. And you will notice, by the way, that this is a G chord. If I put that one down, we're like, oh yeah, there's G. So it's just G without your C string. And then you got to rest. You come back, little finger. You can leave this guy down if you want to. Rest. No, not a rest. Sorry, carry on. Where was I looking? Then a crotchet rest. And then you got 2 threes. And then I want you to try sliding that. So little finger to 5, index on 3. So that little movement again, you're going to go 2 threes, slide, like that. One more time, 2 threes, little finger to 5, ring finger comes off, index over there on 3rd on your E. So all together, let's see if we can do it together, shall we? Nice and slow, counting you in and I'll keep counting. Remember, lightning bolts rest for 1 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Don't know why I said 2 after 4, but you get the idea. So this one is tied just like it was in our teaser intro. So it's another one that would have been worth 5, but can you see there's a pair of quavers at the end of the bar, so it's not worth 5, it's worth 2 actually, that one. But because it's tied to the other one, it's worth a grand total of 3. So you would, if you counted it correctly, if I go from bar 4, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then you'd be off on the main theme of the movie. Alright? So let's do that again. I know I've probably baffled you, but I'll try and count better this time. So bar 3 into 4. Counting you in, making sure you can see these fingers. I'm not using this thumb, by the way, it's just sort of steadying me so I don't fall off the neck. Because I'm in a strange position, basically, because my hand's up here. Yours shouldn't be, yours should be back down by the sound hole. Alright, bar 3 into 4, counting you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Slide. 1, 2, 3. And then you carry on from there. Alright, now let's see if we can do the T's into that little 2-bar phrase as well. So basically the intro. So that is bar 1, bar 2, remember you repeat those, and then bar 3, bar 4, and a little into bar 5, but you don't have to do the 3, 2 just yet if you don't want to. But let's do it. So we're starting on the 0, we're thinking, oh yes, that's what I'm doing, and maybe we'll put in that C chord and make it more interesting on the repeat. Why not? Let's do it. Counting you in then. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then off you go. Nicely done. Now if you need to slow me down, rewind me, here's the little graphic to remind you how to slow me down. Just click the cog, playback speed 75 is pretty good. And yeah, it just makes everything a little bit more digestible. But yeah, if you need to rewind me, you know what to do. Drag the cursor, go back a bit, do that as many times as you like, but we're going to carry on into the main theme. Alright, so now let's move on, and you can see this main theme is starting on that pair of quavers that happens right at the end of the opening, essentially that 3-2. And you'll hear me, I do tend to upshot it quite a lot. I'm a little bit too aggressive with my picking today. I think it's because I'm on the neck, so hopefully that's not happening to you. But it doesn't matter too much, because it's a C chord coming up, so you kind of want to get that harmony ringing. That said, I don't want you to worry about that yet. So although we will be thinking chords probably towards the end of this video, to start with we're just learning it. We're learning the tune nice and simple without the chords. So all together we're going to go from that pair of quavers in bar 5 and then we're going to crack on into bar 6. Okay, so nice easy rhythm. I'm going to count you in. Remember, you're starting with the quavers. So that will be beat 4. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm sure it will once I play it. So you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll carry on. All right? We'll go slower though, don't worry. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear the theme? So you've guessed it. The next bar is exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hopefully you're getting that. I'm going to do it with teas and coffee just in case you're not, so in which case you start with some coffee on beat 4. So let's do it with the tea and coffee. 1, 2, 3, coffee, tea, 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 coffee, tea, 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 coffee. Lovely. And then in the next bar, we stay on that 2, so don't pull it off. You keep that 2 down. And then you've got a crotchet rest. It's worth me saying, by the way, these crotchet rests, I don't mean that I want you to play staccato, which means you'd go and then stop it ringing. I want you to keep it ringing, but I've said this in my videos before. I use note flight and they are not clear enough with their minimums on the tab, which just means notes that are worth 2 half notes, I think it is in American. And that drives me nuts, so I put in crotchet rest to make it really obvious that that is another beat there. So I want you to go and let it ring and then carry on, all right? So let's do bar 7 into bar 8, because I think you can sight read this, no problem. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Super. I was laughing at my little flick there, managed to catch all the other strings, but it's a C chord, so it's not the end of the world. You know when it does... I was going to say you know when it's the end of the world, but that's a little bit too, you know, melodramatic. You know when it's gone wrong because it sounds really, really wrong, all right? If it still sounds quite harmonious, don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, so after that bar, after bar 8, we're coming to that B flat, and we just hold it for 3 beats. We'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can hear the main themes coming back round again. It's repeating. So let's see if we can go bar 7, into bar 8 and into bar 9. So basically as far as that B flat for 3 beats. Let's do it. So bar 7, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. T, T, T. Coffee, coffee, tea. T, 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 T. All right, and I'll do it again with counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And I just want to talk about the hammer-on I've used there. I quite like doing that. Now, if you don't know what a hammer-on is, quick revision. If you do, then skip this. But you basically have the finger down, or the 2, that you are starting on, and get ready with the 3. So it's not on here, it's hovering. Pluck the string once and hammer it down. The focus hates it when I do this. It's all good. So I'm doing that with my middle finger. So just pluck the string once, hammer it down. If it was a pull-off, I don't think there are any in this, but it's worth you knowing what that is anyway. It's the opposite. So you start with the one, well, you start with the first one, and behind it you have the note that you're going to. So like that. I mean, we could have done it in the intro, to be honest, with our... So you could still use pull-offs in this piece if you want to, but you don't have to. All right, now then, let's do that entire first section of the main theme. So that is going from the end of bar 5 and it's up as far as bar 9, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then the next phrase would start. And let's do it with teas and coffees as well. Let's make sure everybody's covered. 1, 2, 3, coffee, tea, 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 coffee, tea, 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 coffee, coffee, tea, 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 and then the next phrase begins on the coffee. So let's look at the next phrase actually, because you know it already. Nice and easy, we've done this bit already. Done this bit already. Even done this bit. So actually the new information is in the 2 bars right at the end, so that's what we're going to look at here, okay? So the 2 bars at the end, we've got a 3 all by itself, and then a 2 all by itself, and then a C chord. And timing wise we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you like with T's, T, 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 and maybe a shoo. Now obviously you might agree with me and feel like that 3 is a bit thin, that 2 is a bit thin. You might not, and that's absolutely fine, but if you want to give it a little bit extra, start with a C chord, but don't give it the full pizzazz, because the full pizzazz is right at the end, so maybe just a little hint of a C. Maybe it could be just like that, the E and that G, or you could beef it up. You could go like that for a C chord, so that's just 2 threes. And then try a G7 out, because it's a lovely chord. I'd love you to try it. Even if you just get the 1 and the 2, you still get something, yeah? That's just a little bit more interesting than just 2 on its own. And then obviously a nice big flourish on the final C. So just to recap what I would do, probably the 2/3s, maybe with this C to start with. Nice and gentle, a G7, and then a full-blown, slightly louder, a bit more force as I plucked it as well. Just means that you end it, you know, with the full fanfare it deserves. Okay, so I kind of feel like you can do this now, so we're going to give it a go. We're going to go from bar 5, because you've done the intro already a couple times. And because I don't want to stress you out, to be honest, we'll do the whole thing in a minute. But let's just see if you can do that. So you're essentially sight reading the second half, but you've already done it. You'll be fine. So from bar 5, I'm just going to count. I won't do it with tea and coffee because I think you're getting the gist now of the tea and the coffee. And I won't count all the way through too because I want you to test yourself. So I'll just do the start. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then before we go all the way through the piece, do you remember I said you could perhaps implement more chords? So we've talked about the B flat, we've talked about putting the C, the G7 and the full C at the end of it, but we haven't talked about putting the C's and F's in. And I feel like that might be a nice step up for you. So if this has been too easy, do this. If this hasn't been too easy yet, don't do this yet. But come back to this video when you feel like you've got it a little bit better, all right? So this is how I would do it. I've got my melody, and then maybe I'd pluck up a little bit more obvious, so I get a full C, like that. I just tend to flick, to be honest, middle and index, flick, and then I'd come to my C, not my C, my F chord, and I tend to flick up with my index there. You can pluck it if you prefer, you could strum it, but I will say about that, if you do strum it, then you take your fingers off the strings and you can get lost a lot quicker. And we don't want that. So unless you're very skilled at going, if you know what I mean, unless you're very skilled at going between those two skills, that was an interesting use of the word skill, then don't do it. Because I don't want you getting lost. I would prefer it if you plucked, basically, if you kept plucking or flicking. What a strange conversation we're having with ourselves. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm just giving you an idea. I'm going bar 5 into bar 6, just giving you an idea of how I would do that main motif. So I'm going to lift this a little just so you can see even more, because it's more about this hand really. And you can kind of see when I flick, this is just for safety really, in case I flick that hard that I'm up there on the G string. It seems like most of the time I'm not, so, but can you imagine if I didn't? We'd get that, and although that's a pretty chord, it doesn't work, so we don't want that. But yeah, use a C chord, come back, flick into F. Now this B flat, maybe pop down another finger if you can. I know this is hard for a lot of people, so if it's too difficult, don't do it. But if you can do it, try and get that second fret on your C string. You can go for the full hog if you want, so that would be 3rd fret on your G as well. But if you can't, then that's fine. Just aim to get that. You can kind of hear, like I just said with the other chord, there's that room for error if you don't put the whole thing down, so you've got to be very accurate with your flicking. It is doable, just takes a bit of discipline, but if you put the whole thing down, you can go to town on it. And the nice thing is you have it for 3 beats, so you have time to find the next pair of quavers. You can go, okay, there they are. And you only use that B flat once as well, so it's worth doing it nicely, I think. But can you see, it's largely just flicking with that index. And then obviously at the end, flick, really milk it. And there you go. Well, all right then, let's go all the way through. I know you can do this. We'll go nice and slow and steady. I'm going to tell this guy to go back down by the sound hole so he makes less mistakes. Fewer mistakes, I should say. It's better grammar. And remember the repeat of bar 1 and bar 2. Remember to go to a C chord the second time on the repeat because it's just a bit more interesting for you. And yeah, I'll count through the intro and then I will stop counting to try and give you a bit of a test to see if you can count yourself. All right? So here we go. Let's get ready with the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 3. Good, so there you go, that's how I play it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will of course upload the tab to Patreon with a relevant video, so you can check it out and have it yourself, have a lot of fun, and yeah, just generally enjoy it. I love Jurassic Park, what a great theme, oh my goodness. Every time I hear this it gives me goosebumps, I love it. So thanks so much for watching guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Now go watch the movie.